It's a very expensive wine to make, and it's very risky because we don't always get the conditions. And last year was a great example of that.
Ontario vintners are celebrating as ice wine production ramps back up after some tough times for the product. You'll probably remember last winter we had El Nino, and with it unseasonably warm weather right through the winter. Pleasant for day-to-day life, but a disaster if your business relies on the cold.
Anytime between December and end of February tends to be the zone where we get these temperatures.
Paul Speck is with Ontario Craft Wineries. He's also president and co-owner of Henry of Pelham Family Estate Winery on the Niagara Peninsula. He says ice wine is hard and slow to make, describing it as a small part of the market by volume, but says it's important because we're so well known for it globally. He explains this year's cooler temperatures and more seasonal outlook is already paying off.
This year has been actually quite mild, but Friday morning, Saturday morning, it dropped right into perfect timing at around 4 in the morning, both nights. And we were able to pick early, and the yields are fantastic. And we had a really amazing harvest this year.
There are other ice wine regions. You've got Prince Edward County, I think, does some ice wine. I know Essex County also does some. Is this sort of better season isolated to Niagara, or is this across Ontario that we're seeing this improvement?
This has been a great growing season for everywhere in Ontario.
But it's not just the warm weather that's made the last few years difficult.
A lot of tourists weren't coming into Niagara. Ice wine wasn't selling. So yeah, we had a pretty big drop in sales for those couple of years.
The general manager of Malivoire Wine Company nearby explaining extended COVID-19 related shutdowns left a lasting hangover, effectively collapsing the market for the product. Last year's warm weather just the icing on the cake. His last vintage harvested back in 2019.
Well, 2019 was a perfect year for making ice wine. It was one of those very, very cold years where harvest started a month, maybe even 6 weeks later than normal. So we had a lot of fruit left that we thought was perfect for ice wine. So we made quite a lot. And that was good because now we're still selling some of it, and which we've needed.
Are you getting close to running out? Is there still a lot left?
Oh yeah, no, I think we could have made ice wine this year, and I think this year looks like a great year to make ice wine, but we've targeted making our next ice wine next year.
Meanwhile, Speck, who also harvested his last ice wine in 2019, is echoing the optimism that the pandemic hangover may finally be clearing.
We're pretty close to pre-pandemic sales. We're not quite there. At least Henry of Pelham isn't quite there, but we're on the trajectory.
In Niagara Region, David Zura, City News.